Hey guys, welcome back to the show. This is Full Power Pellic, and I've got to say, I love Bedrock Edition. There is, however, some slight problems with it, generally when it comes to two-way flying machines. But today, we not only solve those issues, but we make something far more powerful. You see, what we've got here is actually a two-way flying machine that is programmable so that we can control how many blocks it can actually travel. So if, for instance, I were to chuck in, say, 16 blocks here and 16 blocks here, all that I could do is activate it, and as you would see, it's basically now traveling. So this will basically get to a certain point where it eventually runs out of snowballs, and at that point it stops. And there we go. So now you can see that it's all stopped and it's working perfectly fine. Now both of these pistons are actually sticky pistons. This is the first time we've had a standalone flying machine in Bedrock that can use two sticky pistons at the same time without having to move blocks around and all the rest of the stuff. So it's much more complicated. Well, sorry, not much more complicated. What am I saying? It's much more simple, much more easier. And you can even do some weird and wacky things with it. So because I've made this early concept fairly sort of simple, it works north and south, east and west, like you would normally find. However, you can also do some weird things where you sort of wrap up the whole design, so you make it sort of a bit sort of strange and that sort of thing. And it's fundamentally the same as this. All I've done is that instead of moving these blocks here, I've basically just put them vertical and tried to wrap it around a little bit. So to make this, as you can see, we've got two sticky pistons, we've got 4 honey blocks or 4 slime blocks, or the other way round, if you get what I say. And we've got 2 target blocks here, obviously, and we've got 2 dispensers and 2 observers, one on each side. Now, quite simple, quite easy, but we can do some much more interesting things than just basically choosing how many blocks it travels. So you see, these are actually intelligent flying machines. We can give them some levels of functionality, and what we have here is a master and slave system. So master and slave, I know you're probably thinking, you know, Princess Leia or something like that. What we're actually talking about in programming terms, at least, is a main control system or a main control device, and then 2 devices that can run off the main one. So if we have a look at these ones, these are a slave system, and they have no way to actually control themselves. There's nothing actually actuating this one on board. So the only way that this one can move is actually by having something else. And what we have over here is fundamentally, on this side, if you have a look at it, the same sort of thing. All it is a target block and 2 sticky pistons and another target block followed by more honey blocks and more slime blocks. Not any different to this one, except on this side, what we have actuated by these target blocks here is actually another dispenser. So these dispensers will basically output a signal anytime that these target blocks are hit by a signal. So if we have a look over this one, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So this is the master control system. Fundamentally, it's the same design as I showed you earlier. All I've done is fundamentally just flipped it on its side. So instead of having these 2 sticky pistons side by side sort of arrangement, one's on top of the other, same way that you can switch it around in Java Edition, things like that. And as you notice, I've got the target blocks here and I've got the actuator here. Then I've got the observers on this side. So again, it's just wrapped around, no different to what we had over there. But what we also have is these 2 extra dispensers that are also triggered by the target blocks. Now, what we can do with these is create a program based on the number of snow blocks that we have. Snowballs, not snow blocks. Not going to work with snow blocks. What we can do is create a program based on the number of snowballs that we have in each one of these, and also the ones that we have in those ones over there. So what we're going to do is a little bit of Minecraft programming of these flying machines. So what we're going to do is this one needs to travel 16 blocks to be able to get to here. Now we can't turn off those dispensers at all, so they have to continuously fire. So if we put 16 blocks in it, it's going to use all of them just as it gets to this one. So we need at least 16 blocks in this one. So I'll do that right now. So 16 blocks, that's enough for it to travel from there to here. Now I want this one to move 16 blocks onto here. So it means that we need to put out an extra 16 blocks into this device, a little bit like that. Now we need this device to move somehow, which is going to be controlled by our master control switch, which means that we need to first of all travel 16 blocks so that it can get to here. Then it needs to travel a further 16 blocks so that it can get to here, which means that we need 2 lots. Then this is going to travel 16 blocks, so we need 3 lots, then 4 and 5. So we're going to put in, say, what was my numbers again? 4 in this one, I reckon. Yeah, 4 in this one makes sense. And then we're going to put 5 in this one so that it can travel a little bit further than what the middle one can travel at. So a little bit like this. Okay, now if we activate it, so to activate it you need to do the furthest one away first. So no different to what you have in Java Flying Machine. So if you want this machine to travel that direction, you need to do the one at the back. So this one, and it's now activated. So if we zoom out a little bit, let's get rid of our HUD because it will just be in the way otherwise. And what we should have is that will fly along, and then it's going to pick up the middle one in a few moments. Then the middle one is going to move along with it. And then once the middle one gets to the point where the bottom one is, it will make that bottom one travel 16 blocks to the left. Then what will happen is that the middle one will travel 16 blocks beyond that. And the one at the very top should travel 16 blocks beyond the other 2. So let's see how this all works. Obviously it's already picked up the middle one, so that's all working perfectly fine. And in a few moments it should also pick up the one at the bottom. In a few moments it gets a little bit funny when it does get picked up, because sometimes you will have these target blocks in weird sort of locations, but this is not too bad a sort of setup for this one. So here we go. Now it should be picking it up. And it is, so that's flying along with it now, and this will travel 16 blocks along, then it should stop moving. If we give it a little bit of time, obviously these things are a bit sort of slow, unfortunately. All flying machines are slow though, there's not much you can do about it. And if we give that a few extra seconds, eventually, there we go. So it's now reached 16 blocks beyond where it first started, and it stopped because the middle one ran out of balls. I was gonna say blocks there. I was gonna say blocks, but I didn't. Okay, now this one in the middle is going to travel 16 blocks beyond where that one stopped, and then it will stop as well in a few moments time. What other YouTubers usually talk about when they have situations like this? There we go. So that one stopped, and then this top one should travel the final 16 blocks, and then it will stop as well. So very useful for a number of different things. Obviously useful for things like elevators and maybe item droppers and things like that, or maybe even mob farms if you really wanted to. So you can see where this starts to become very useful. So I hope that you've had a bit of fun. This was definitely kind of an interesting one. I hope that it was not too bad. Obviously, we've had a lot going on recently, so videos have been a bit sort of hard to make, but I hope you guys had a bit of fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one.